Welcome to Lagos, the city where love is sweet like ripe mango.
In the heart of Surulere, one quiet teacher fall in love with one fine widower pauper. It sweet well until one small mistake leak exam paper, scatter career, scatter heart, scatter reputation. Parents shout Oli. School suspend man run leave But wait, there's one twist wey nobody see coming. Make una grab tissue and malt, because this Lagos love story go shock you finish. In the bustling, chaotic heart of Surulere, Lagos, where the air was thick with the smell of diesel from Okodas weaving through traffic and the sizzle of women frying golden plantains and akara by the roadside, St. Saviour's International School stood like a proud, weathered old auntie amid all the madness. The school was a two-story building painted in faded yellow and green, with a rusty iron gate that creaked every morning as parents dropped off their children. It was the kind of place where generations of Lagosians had learned their ABCs, and now, in 2025, it was still holding strong against the encroachment of high-rise apartments and shopping malls. Primary 5 was the class every parent dreaded, the gateway to WAC prep and the dreaded common entrance exams that could make or break a child's future. The pressure was real. Parents would bribe, beg, and sometimes even threaten teachers for that extra edge. At 29, Miss Ezinne was the star of St. Saviour's. She taught primary 5 with a mix of firmness and warmth that earned her the nickname Auntie Ezinne the Magician. Tall and slender, with skin the color of rich cocoa and hair always neatly braided into a crown, Ezinne could silence a rowdy class of 45 children with just one arched eyebrow. But in the next breath, she'd crack a joke about how even the goat in the market knows 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, and the whole room would erupt in laughter. The kids adored her. They'd draw pictures of her as a superhero with a chalkboard shield. Parents loved her too, often slipping her small tokens like recharge cards or bags of Gary as thanks for turning their stubborn offspring into scholars. Ezinne had grown up in Ajigana, the daughter of a retired bus driver and a petty trader, and she'd fought her way through Unilag on scholarships and sheer grit. Teaching wasn't just a job, it was her calling. She lived in a modest one-room apartment in Surulere, close enough to walk to school, and spent her evenings painting vibrant abstracts inspired by the city's energy, reds for the traffic, blues for the lagoon. Then came Mr. Femi, father to 10-year-old Bola, the shy genius of the class. Bola, as her father called her, was a quiet girl with big eyes and plaited hair, always acing mathematics but never volunteering answers. She'd sit in the back row, scribbling equations like they were puzzles from a storybook. Femi was a 38-year-old widower, a successful importer of electronics from China, with roots in old Anambra money. Dark-skinned and bearded, he carried himself with the quiet confidence of someone who didn't need to shout to be heard. He always dressed in crisp native attire, embroidered agbada with expensive coral beads that clinked softly, announcing his status without a word. His wife, Ada Ora, had died tragically 3 years earlier in a horrific car crash on 3rd Mainland Bridge, leaving him to raise Bola alone. Since then, he'd shunned drivers and nannies, insisting on driving his daughter to school himself every morning in his sleek black Range Rover. No shortcuts, no excuses, it was his way of holding on to normalcy in a world that had shattered. Their first real encounter happened during the midterm open day, a chaotic affair where parents crammed into the stuffy assembly hall, fanning themselves with report cards while the ceiling fans whirred uselessly overhead. While other parents yelled about why their sons weren't made house captain or complained about the rising school fees, Femi calmly sat in the front row, his coral beads resting on his chest. When it was his turn, he didn't rant. Instead, he asked thoughtful questions about Bola's reluctance to speak in public. She's brilliant on paper, Miss Okeke, but in class, she freezes. How can we help her build confidence? Ezinne, caught off guard by his genuine concern, found herself explaining at length about group activities, role-playing, and even suggesting Toastmasters for kids. She talked too much, laughed a bit too loudly at his dry jokes, and by the time the closing bell rang, signaling the end of the session, he'd smoothly asked for her WhatsApp number. Just for updates on Bola's assignments and progress, he said with a warm smile that made her stomach flip. What started as innocent updates quickly evolved. A quick text about homework turned into voice notes sharing funny anecdotes from the day, Ezinne mimicking a student's excuse for not doing math, Femi recounting Bola's latest ballet mishap. Before long, those voice notes stretched into late-night calls, the kind that began at 10 p.m. and ended at 2 a.m. with sleepy goodbyes. "You're the first woman who sees my daughter, not my bank account," he confessed one starry night over the phone, his voice low and sincere. Ezinne's heart did a full press-up routine. She'd been single for years, focused on her career, dodging the setups from well-meaning aunts who insisted she needed a husband to complete her. But Femi was different, kind, attentive, and heartbreakingly vulnerable about his loss. He spoke of Edeora with respect, not bitterness, and shared how he turned his grief into devotion for Bola. They began dating in secret, careful not to let the school's strict no-fraternization policy catch wind. Femi would park his Range Rover 2 streets away from her apartment, and Ezinne would sneak out after her evening lesson planning, her heart racing like a teenager's. Their dates were simple but magical in the midst of Lagos frenzy. They'd grab spicy suya from the vendors under the Oberland Bridge, the meat sizzling on skewers as they sat on plastic stools, laughing about the day's absurdities. On Saturdays, when Bola was at ballet class in Ikoyi, they'd take a boat to Takwe Bay, lounging on the sandy beach with cold malt drinks, watching the waves crash while holding hands. Once, they sneaked into Silverbird Cinema at the Galleria, sharing popcorn and stealing kisses during a romantic comedy, feeling like kids playing hooky. Ezinne confided in no one, not her best friend at school, not even her sister in Abuja. She told herself it was harmless, nobody at St. Saviour's would ever know. After all, love like this was rare in a city where relationships often felt transactional. But as the common entrance revision period ramped up, the pressure mounted like a gathering storm. The exams were make or break, and parents turned desperate. Midnight calls from anxious moms flooded Ezinne's phone, some offering recharge cards, others sending bags of rice or even discreet envelopes stuffed with cash for extra tips. The school had procured exclusive past questions from the British Council, quantitative and verbal reasoning sets watermarked with St. Saviour's logo, strictly for internal use. Teachers guarded them like state secrets, leaking them could cost jobs, reputations, everything. One fateful evening, after a romantic dinner at Femi's spacious Lekki flat, where he'd cooked the perfect pot of egusi soup with lumps of goat meat and pounded yam so smooth it melted in her mouth, they lounged on his leather sofa, sipping palm wine under the soft glow of dim lights. The air was heavy with the scent of jasmine from the diffuser, and Ezinne felt dizzy from the wine and the intoxicating pull of love. His arm around her broached the topic gently. "Babe, these past questions you people use for revision, is it the same one they write in the real exam? Bola's been so stressed, I just want to give her a small advantage." His eyes were pleading, not demanding, and in that moment, Ezinne's guard crumbled. She pulled out her phone, scrolled to the scanned PDF of the 2024 questions, and hit send. "Just for you and Bola," she whispered, sealing it with a kiss. It felt like nothing but a small favor for the man who made her feel seen. Femi, ever the doting father, didn't waste time. He printed multiple copies and organized, special lessons, for Bola and 3 of her closest friends from affluent families, kids whose parents owned oil blocks or import empires. They drilled the questions in his home office, turning it into a mini boot camp with snacks and encouragement. But children talk, and one of the friends, a chatty boy named Tond, went home bubbling with excitement. "Mommy, Auntie Ezinne gave my daddy the real exam questions. Oh, we are going to smash common entrance." Word spread like wildfire in Lagos elite circles. By Sunday evening, the primary 5 parents WhatsApp group, a notorious hotbed of gossip and grievances, was exploding. Madam Ngozi, the outspoken PTA chairperson who ran a thriving lace import business in Balegan Market, got wind of it first. She screenshot the child's innocent message, added dramatic red arrows and crying emojis, and forwarded it straight to the proprietress, Reverend Sister Agnes, with a scathing caption, "Sister, see what is happening under your nose. Our children's future is at stake." Monday morning dawned with chaos. The school buzzed like a disturbed beehive. Sister Agnes, a stern woman in her 60s with wire-rimmed glasses and a habit that never wrinkled, launched an immediate investigation. Teachers were summoned to her office one by one, phones confiscated for checks. Ezinne's heart sank when they asked for her school-issued iPad, the one she'd foolishly used on the school Wi-Fi to send Femi a late-night "I miss you" message during a marking session. The IT guy pulled up the logs in minutes, love text interspersed with work emails, and worse, the sent PDF of the past questions. Bola's mock exam scores provided the final nail, a suspicious jump from 68% to 94% in just 2 weeks, far beyond normal improvement. Ezinne was suspended on the spot. Sister Agnes, usually unflappable, had tears in her eyes as she handed over the letter. "Ezinne, you were one of our best. How could you let this happen? For a man." The news rippled out fast. Parents gathered at the school gate, shouting "Oh! Thief, thief," as Ezinne walked out with her head bowed, clutching her bag. Whispers followed, "Sugar mommy teacher," the kids murmured, giggling cruelly behind cupped hands. Femi tried to intervene. He sped to the school in his Range Rover, coral beads clinking frantically, and begged Sister Agnes in her office. "I'll build a new computer lab, donate generators, anything." But the damage was irreparable, the school's reputation was on the line, and the British Council had been notified. That night, he called Ezinne, his voice heavy with regret. "I can't let Bola grow up with this kind of shame hanging over us. People are talking, it's affecting her. We have to end this, Easy. I'm sorry." Devastated, Ezinne packed her things and moved back to her father's cramped house in Ajigona, where the streets flooded during rains and generators hummed all night. The shame was suffocating. Old Pa Okeke, a quiet man who'd worked his life away driving downforce, stopped greeting neighbors, his face etched with disappointment. Ezinne deleted her WhatsApp, blocked numbers, and abandoned her painting, the canvases gathering dust in a corner. She'd cry at the roar of any Range Rover passing by, memories flooding back like a bad dream. A year later, the scandal still lingered. Strangers in downforce would point and whisper, "Not that teacher will leak exam because of man." But Ezinne had clawed her way back, starting small afternoon lessons in a Face Me I Face You compound yard. 5 children at a time, 100 naira per session, huddled under a mango tree with makeshift benches. She taught them math and English, but more importantly, life lessons. "Fine face and sweet mouth no be integrity," she'd say sternly. "Never mix love with work. Once you do, you go for your cutter, flat on your face." Bola, now in a posh new school in Victoria Island, would sometimes pass by in her father's car on weekends. The girl, once so close to Ezinne, would look away, eyes fixed on the road. The crayon drawings she'd made of Daddy, me, and Auntie Ezinne, happy stick figures holding hands, had been torn up and tossed in the dustbin long ago, symbols of a bond shattered. Love had made Ezinne human, vulnerable, alive. But that one mistake, born of blurry boundaries and dizzying affection, had turned her into a cautionary tale, whispered in staff rooms and parent groups across Lagos. Yet in her quiet moments, teaching those wide-eyed kids under the tree, she found a sliver of redemption. Integrity, she learned, wasn't just a word, it was the anchor that kept you from drowning in the city's relentless tide. And that is the end of Ezinne's story. A story that reminds us that one moment of weakness can cost everything. But one act of forgiveness can rebuild it all. Love can make us blind, but integrity will always open our eyes again. If this story touched you, if it made you think twice about love, boundaries, or second chances, please drop a comment below and tell me. What is the one thing you learned from Ezinne's journey today? I read every single comment, and I truly want to know. And if you're new here and you enjoyed this story, kindly hit the red subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another true life inspired Lagos story. We are building a beautiful family here, and I'd love for you to be part of it. Thank you for watching till the very end. You're amazing. See you in the next one, and remember, protect your peace, guard your integrity, and love wisely. God bless you.